Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Justy.
And together we're losing it.
We both lost over 100 pounds by developing healthy habits.
And I also had weight loss surgery and used a GLP-1 medication.
And I used a GLP-1 medication and had skin removal surgery.
We're really passionate about helping people learn to live a healthy lifestyle by sharing our experiences.
But we're not doctors, so if you have questions, reach out to your medical team. And you may see our mascot Sancho pop up from time to time.
And all three of us hope that you find our content useful.
Welcome back, friends. We're back after yet another break, which is just life being busy. I know we were hot for a couple years ago, Jesse, with them coming weekly almost, and now
Right.
it's like trying to find time that matches up is difficult. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that we have a guest. So trying to find a time that matches up for three guests is even more difficult, or three guests, three people is even more difficult. But I want to welcome Noelle. And rather than me butcher her little bio background about her, I'm gonna just turn it right over to Noelle and let her give us a little background. Just to give you a teaser, we have, well, Dusty and I have lost a significant amount of weight. So has Noelle. Her journey's a little different, and that's kind of what we want to talk about today. So go ahead, Noelle.
My name's Noelle. I was an athlete all throughout my youth. In my 20s, I started to gain weight and ended up at 420 pounds. I found myself at almost 420 pounds in 2016. Started my journey then. I lost 230 pounds in 14 months. And then in 2019, I had excess skin removal. I had 9 pounds of skin removed. And by 2022, a couple of years later, I found myself back up to 250 pounds, and I found my weight climbing. I had been going through a lot at the time, preparing for separation and divorce, and was just struggling all around in life, and found myself just back to struggling with food again. So I made the decision to go get vertical sleeve gastrectomy back in Mexico, where I had my excess skin removal. And then I ended up losing, oh my goodness, almost 100 pounds with that. So I'm at 260 pounds lost total after the natural weight loss, the gain, and then the surgery. And now I'm preparing for round 2 of plastics next week.
Yay! That's incredible.
And her doctor
260 pounds.
And her doctor is my doctor. I call him my doctor, but she probably calls him her doctor because he's our doctor, because he's fantastic. Is Dr. Galvez. So she's having her second round with Dr. Galvez, and I had my 2 rounds with him as well. And I'm actually really jealous. You get to go hang out in Mexico with him. Now they did your sleeve as well, correct?
They did my sleeve. He did not personally, but it's
right.
his team, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for my biggest question is, having lost the weight both different ways, because I know how it felt natural, and Steph knows how it felt bariatric surgery, although she did lose weight over the years, right?
Naturally. I was a pro at losing 50 pounds and gaining 60.
But keeping
it
off, keeping it off. What do you think the biggest differences are?
I think for me, I know with bariatric patients, some can really struggle. This is just my experience based off of what I've heard. A lot of patients can struggle if they haven't worked on themselves and stuff. You've clearly worked on yourself before you had bariatric surgery. But those that have not put in the effort and just went straight to bariatric surgery and didn't do the internal work, they found themselves struggling and potentially gaining more and stretching out their tummies. I am really grateful because I did it naturally at first and then had the weight loss surgery. So I feel like I was in a much healthier place mentally. And once, all of the transformations that I went through in 2022, not just the VSG, but I was going through a lot personally. And after all those changes kind of take place, it made a big difference in how my success was. So I know my success was so much different, but I will say, I know I need to answer the question. I'm really bad about this. But the difference is, there's a lot of differences, and Steph knows this, is that your entire life changes with bariatrics. completely different. Now, if you were able to stretch your stomach and get it back to a fuller size and you weren't taking care of yourself, I think it might be different. But those that are taking care of, those of us that are taking care of ourselves and making sure that we're staying on the right path and eating healthy, we do struggle with drinking while eating. There's a lot of limitations with bariatrics. But I'm very grateful for those limitations. I do find that today I'm able to eat a full sandwich. I'm able to eat a full meal. I still choose not to because of the way I feel afterwards. I went all of those years feeling like crap after I ate. And I hate that feeling today. Number one, it reminds me of my old self. And number two, I just feel awful. And I love having energy. I love moving my body. I love challenging my body after living on the sidelines for so many years. So when I eat today, I eat to fill my belly or to satisfy that not even craving, but to satisfy that hunger. Yeah. And then I'm done. I'm like, okay, I'm done with food. I can move on to the next thing. But you will see I eat all day long. Like I just eat little bites. I put, eat a few bites of my plate. I don't know about you, Steph, but I stick it in the microwave and I go back and take a few more bites an hour later and I eat a few more bites. And it takes me 5 hours to eat a whole plate.
Yeah, I go back to it cold, which is funny though. I am different from you. I can't eat a whole sandwich. I can't. I already know if I'm ordering a sandwich or something on bread or what have you, that I'm going to take a few bites of it and remove the bread and then go for the filling. Because like I want a burger. I want to taste like a burger the way it's intended to be. I don't want to have it in a wrap all the time. I don't want to eat it on a salad. But sometimes I just want that burger and I'll take a few bites and then the bun comes off because I get the taste but I know I can't eat the whole thing. So and I've since surgery not been able to eat like a whole sandwich in one sitting. I couldn't do it if I wanted to because I feel that tightness and I don't like that tightness. And it goes away, which is probably why you eat the little little bit at a time. Goes away for me. Like I'll get that tight feeling and I'll push it aside and it'll go away within like 15 minutes or so where I could eat again. But then I'm kind of like, well, what's the point in that? The whole point in me doing this was to keep myself from overeating. So it's like at that point I may as well just eat the partial sandwich that I know I can eat anyway. So say a sandwich, anything with bread is the one thing, and pasta that I know I can't eat like a portion of.
I had an interesting experience when I took the girls. Steph and I used to work at Bonefish for years. The girls and I went for my daughter's 30th birthday. And back then we used to eat a bang bang shrimp, a full meal, probably an appetizer, a couple martinis, dessert. Like we got our money's worth. And I was with my daughters and these bitches can put some food down. And I was just like, how do you guys not feel like shit? Like I didn't eat that much. I had some tuna with some vegetables. I ate a couple bites of the bang bang shrimp and that was it. Because I've taught my stomach my body to not want that feeling over the years. If I get that full feeling like you guys talked about, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Like
and you need a nap.
Shit. And I need a nap. And then I can't go on with my day. And it used to be that's what I was going for. Like that's the feeling I needed for whatever reason in my brain. I needed that feeling to feel better about myself, but physically I felt like shit. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It reminds me of my old self. The second I go to that really full feeling, I feel like the old Noelle, and I'm like, I don't want to ever feel like that again. So that feeling overpowers the need or the craving. Now I don't limit myself anymore. If I want a cheesecake, I get a bite of cheesecake, but I will not eat the whole thing because I had dumping syndrome one time in the last 4 years, and that was the worst feeling I'd ever had in my entire. I thought I was dying, Steph. I thought I was having a heart attack. My heart was pounding. I was sweating. I thought, oh my God, there's something seriously wrong, and found out it was dumping syndrome. That's terrible.
Yeah, I had that with ice cream, like maybe twice. If I eat too much, and this was actually not that long ago, and part of it may be the Zepbound that I'm on too, because if I have too much sugar at once, it does its job and tells me not to. But I got we went to an ice cream place down the street, and I just got it was 2 scoop, but it was just like the cup was little, and it was two like smallish scoops, and I ate the whole thing, which I could have housed like 2 or 3 of those back in the day. But I ate the whole thing, and I want to say almost instantly, when I was finished, it was like this feeling came. I couldn't do anything. And I told my husband, I was like, I'm just gonna go upstairs and I need to just, I didn't want to, he and our daughter were talking and the TV was on and it was just, everything was too much. And I went upstairs and I laid on the bed and it was probably like 7 p.m. and I fell asleep because I just was like, I just need to lay here. And I was like breathing and the same thing, I'm like sweating and I just didn't, everything around me was like, ugh. And I fell asleep and I woke up and I was like, oh God, I don't ever want to do that again. So no more 2 scoops for me.
And
I will
it's
tell
sugar.
you,
It's sugar
yeah,
for
it's sugar.
sure.
And I will tell you, because I've also been taking Zepbound. How long have we been doing it, Steph? Like 3 months, something like that?
Something like that, I
I'm
think. Yeah.
Now, what is
actually, huh?
Zepbound is the shot, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Lilly Direct one. It's not a compound one. It's the actual one, the Manjaro, but the weight loss one. And so we've been doing that about 3 months. And I tell you, that is the one thing. If I eat sugar, that's the one thing that makes me just feel kind of upset to my stomach, which I guess is what it's supposed to be doing. We're on a very low dose of it, but it has curved my cravings. And I remember, I don't think it was Steph, but it was another person that had bariatric surgery. And he had told me, like, after, for at least the first year or so after his surgery, he just didn't have the food noise like he had. And so
Yep.
that's how I feel now. I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm not thinking about the fact that my grandson has cupcakes in there or the leftover birthday cake for hours a day, right? And that's what I've heard that the bariatric surgery will do for you for a while, but then that
Hmm.
comes back.
And then it
Yes.
comes back. Yeah. And then when I first started taking Manjaro years ago, I was like, that was the first experience with it. I'm like, holy shit, this is like being 6 months post-op all over again. I can only eat tiny amounts. I don't think about food. It was just like being newly post-op. And I was like, this is incredible because I missed that. I initially coming out post-op, I don't miss eating puree and, and soft food and teeny tiny little portions. But that sweet spot of like 6 to 8 months where it's like, okay, I can eat regular food again. I just can't eat too much of it. And I feel fuller quicker, and I don't think about food all the time. That's that sweet spot where, like, being a normal ass freaking person that doesn't have the disease of obesity thinks. They don't think about food
Yeah.
all the time. They're not like stuffing their faces. That sweet spot there. But once I hit like a year and a half, I want to say, is when it all started like coming back again and it got really hard. And Noelle, in the beginning you said you were an athlete, right? I
Right.
think we've all been there.
Mhm.
I played every sport as a kid. Like I did it all. And I continued to go to the gym or play racquetball or, whatever. I always had something active that I was doing to try to like combat it. And I enjoy being active too, but it's almost like it didn't matter what I did. Nothing, nothing could outdo what the food noise and just that the disease, how it overtakes you. And in my mind, I think of it as, because I've known, and I know Justy, you know too, I've known several alcoholics, and I have to think it's the same thing, or drug addict that takes over their brain, of where it's like you're thinking about how and sneaking it, and how many times have you hit a wrapper or something in the trash can, or
Mhm.
it's got to be the
Went through
same
the
thing that
drive-through. Go through the
Yes.
yeah.
drive-through and dump it before you get
Throw the
home.
food before you, yeah.
Yes, it's got to be the same thing that any other addict goes through, except it's food and you need it to
You need it.
survive. So it's like
Yeah.
you're trying to control that thing you need to survive, and it just sucks. So this shot, whew, I don't know. I always said I don't want to take it forever, but man, I'll take it forever if I can just not have to think about all of that all the time. I know
Yeah.
that's not what this show is about, but man,
No, it
it's an
makes sense.
amazing thing.
I
Now,
want to touch on the athlete thing really quickly. I was a gymnast, and back in the 80s and 90s, if you knew what gymnast life was like, they were
yeah.
very tough on you, and they would punish you if you were poor performance. They knew. They would pull me off the floor and say, "Hey, what'd you have last night for dinner?" And I was like, so I felt constantly under pressure that I had to eat right at all times. And then at home, my mom was a blonde Barbie doll. She was 120 pounds her whole life. She walked out of the hospital, and the same after giving birth to me at almost 10, or I was 10-6. She walked out of the hospital. She wore the jeans with before she was pregnant with me. So she was this itty bitty thing her entire life. So I saw her. My entire family is complete healthy weight. I was the only one morbidly obese. And so my mom, there was pressure at home because my mom wanted to maintain a fit lifestyle, and there was a little bit of pressure on us to always eat healthy and be presentable and look a certain way. So I had it at gymnastics, and I had it at home constantly. So I would go to birthday parties. I wouldn't eat birthday cake because I would fear,
There's a
repercussions from
shame.
gymnastics. There's a lot of shame.
Like,
So I hit
shame.
adulthood and I started like, oh my gosh, I quit gymnastics at 16, 17. And I was like, it's time to shovel all the food in my mouth that I couldn't eat as a child. And then I found comfort in that because I grew up with an alcoholic, drug addict father. And so I'm grateful for my drug of choice, which is food, because sadly my brothers chose another path, so I'm grateful it was food. But at the same time, we need food. You don't need drugs to survive. You need food to survive. So, and I'm not comparing either one of them. I don't even know what a drug addict life is like, but just the thought of like knowing we still have to put food in our tummies and we have an addiction issue. It's a battle. It's definitely a battle.
And you have to this is a thing. We really have to eat for the rest of our life.
Yes.
Right. So we might as well, for me, it's kind of like, I'm just trying to figure that out, man. Like we just have to do it. And whatever tool, whether it's natural or it's natural, then, surgery like you did, or surgery like Steph, or Zepbound, like what I'm using now, it's just a constant struggle, not even struggle, but just like, kind of my motivation is I want to be the healthiest I can possible and feel good. I want to feel this good forever.
Yes.
But it's not going to change that I have to eat food. We have to. So we might as well just figure it the fuck out.
Right.
Whatever tool we need, let's just figure it out now because we have to do it for the rest of our life.
Right.
And I was
Like, who cares? Who cares how you did it?
right. Who cares?
It
Right.
doesn't even
Ain't
matter.
no stigma. We
Yes.
had a lady on our Instagram the other day talk about how was ashamed and this and that and whatever and blah 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 because she was taking the GLP-1. So she was thanking us about our podcast we did on that, and I'm like, who cares, man?
Right.
Like you're doing it. Like nobody lives in your head. Nobody walks in your shoes, and so. Just being really supportive of that is what I think people need to understand. Like it is a disease, it is a struggle, and we just need to support people, however their journey needs to be for them.
Right.
Right.
Now, my question to you is, let's say we had to do this all over again. I know for me, it would have been, I would have gotten control of this sooner. I would have done what I'm doing now in my 40s, in my 20s, because I was way overweight then too. Again, we can't change the past, but would you, knowing what you know now, would you have had the surgery sooner, or would you have done more mental work to help support your natural weight loss?
I would say mental work for
Yeah.
sure to support my weight loss. I didn't want surgery in the beginning because I was afraid of dying. I was afraid of dying on the table. I was almost 400. I was over 400 pounds. Well, I guess I was almost 400 pounds at the time that I looked into bariatrics back in 2014, 2015. I actually put a deposit down and everything. Like I was on the road. It wasn't bariatric. I'm sorry. It was going to be the band, the gastric banding.
Yeah.
But I canceled that surgery because I was so afraid that I would go under and not wake up. I had adopted 4 children. I had a biological daughter after that. And so there was a lot going on at that point. I was like, I'm going to end up dead after, as a mother.
Well, you're not tall.
5'6".
Yeah, so you're not tall. I mean, you're not a shorty like Steph, but you're not tall. So 400 pounds at your height, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot of weight. So I was afraid. I would die. So I was like, I don't want to do it that route. I just remember, I'll never forget in 2016, we had gotten a zoo membership to take our family to the zoo. We got it in 2015. I'm sorry. It was ending in July of 2016. And I was like, we still haven't taken the kids to the zoo. And I knew why I didn't take them to the zoo because I didn't want to walk around that zoo. I wasn't going to make it. So in July in Nashville, if you've been to Nashville in July of 2016, it is as miserable as can be, humid and hot. We went to the zoo. We made it inside the zoo. I had to take a break. I was overheated. My heart was pounding. I sat down, took a break. And I'll never forget, we were right by the flamingos. We saw 3 animals and had to leave. Because I told Chris, I said, go ahead with the kids. Go let them enjoy it. Our zoo membership ends this month. We're finally using it. We bought it last year. And so anyways, he said, no, we're not going to go without you. So we ended up leaving. My kids saw 3 animals because their mom was not capable of walking through that zoo. And in that moment, on my way home, I was like, I was cursing. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to end up
But
dead.
it's like, and we've all have said that, at least I have, like 100 times.
Yes.
But it's really about like not stopping, right? So you said you were done, you decided to lose weight naturally, you had regain, you still decided to keep going, continue to go because you knew what it feels like to not be morbidly obese anymore.
Correct.
Sometimes we ebb and flow, but I cannot imagine, and I'm not saying, hey, who knows what's going to happen in my future. I can imagine, not imagine going back. I
Right.
mean, that to me would be like, I just can't imagine. That is not who I am at
Mhm.
all anymore. And so whatever I need to do to continue this healthy lifestyle, and with your surgery, I mean, and Steph's surgery, I think, Steph and I was more of a I was just fat the whole time. Steph would go up and down like 50 pounds. So she knows what it takes to lose weight naturally,
Mhm.
but just was never able to make it stick. But I feel like all of us, however we did it, to go back would be pretty devastating to us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It would destroy me. I don't ever want to feel like, I never want that feeling of being out of control
Mhm.
again. I don't want, that's why, and I'm a control freak. And I think that's a big part of my success is I am a control freak. And my ex-husband, we're dear friends. He's like, Noelle, you're a teetotaler. You go big or you go home. And he's like, you've been like that since I've known you for 20 years. And he goes,
Mhm.
when you decided you wanted to lose weight, you went big. But I will tell you guys this, a huge part of my success I owe to Instagram.
Yeah,
My
us too.
community,
Yeah, same.
my community, if I didn't post those side by sides in the very beginning for accountability, not realizing my Instagram would blow up like it did, that accountability and knowing other people were relying on me for inspiration, I think
Mhm.
I have to owe it to them. It is a huge part of my success. I don't
Yeah,
know if
me
I
too.
would have
Mhm.
been as successful if I didn't have these people every day. I craved all of that
Mhm.
attention. In the time I was mentally not well, I was very unhealed. So all of the accolades and the comments and the sweet messages I was getting, I was like, I want more of that. And then I felt a sense of responsibility.
Mhm.
I can't let these people down. I need to get my crap and get it together.
And I think I would say we are so blessed. I don't know about you, Noel, but we don't get a lot of negative feedback. You get one or two like weirdos out there, but it's all positive. I mean,
Right.
people are not negative. They're not, I'm actually going to post one about with all my scars because I literally am a year after my round two tomorrow.
Yay.
So I'm going to
Okay.
show my scars, and that's hard for me. I mean, people think, oh, Justy, she feels comfortable in her undies, like, but I don't.
Yes.
I want other people to see what they can accomplish or my
Same.
imperfections as well, because I've done all this work, I've had all this surgery, and I still have cellulite. That's natural. We're women. Um,
And our bodies aren't perfect after surgery either. They look a
no.
lot better and we feel a lot better, but there's a lot of imperfections in there and that's
Yeah.
Right.
okay. We embrace them all.
But
Now
there
I
isn't
want to
people
talk.
who haven't had major weight loss and lost surgery either. Like everyone, even my husband, who's as fit as can be, he'll have a little thing. He's like, "Oh, I gotta lose a couple pounds. I got this like happening over here." I'm like, I think you're okay, but yeah.
Now for
But
you,
everybody does, man, woman, surgery or not, or
Right.
major weight loss or not, we all have imperfections.
so for
Right.
you and Steph, both of you have had since your during your journeys have had regain, right? So Steph has had regain after bariatric surgery. You had the regain before bariatric surgery, which led you to that. I fortunately haven't had regain 10 pounds here and there. I go up and down. But let's talk about that. Like, like when do you realize, oh shit, or do you realize it's happening, or does it catch up with you? Like, how did your regain start, or when did you be like, okay, this needs something?
Well, I was struggling with a lot at the time. Like I shared, I adopted 4 kids. They were getting older. They were teenagers. They were going through a lot. And
Ugh.
I started to turn to food again. We, like I said, 4 adopted children that had been through severe trauma. And it was really coming out in their teenage years. And I went right back to my old ways and was like,
Mhm.
it wasn't as extreme, but that weight started to slowly creep up. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then on top of that, I was getting ready to separate from my ex-husband. and I was battling my sexuality and all of these things. And I was just like, I felt so overwhelmed. And I remember telling my ex-husband one day, I was like, I think I'm drowning. Like, I feel like my nose is barely above water, and food was my only source of comfort at that point.
Mhm.
And I was like, screw this. I am not doing this. I can't. I'm exhausted. I reached out to Dr. Galvez. I sent him a message. I was like, I'm exhausted, Galvez. I've been fighting and battling, and I need a tool. I need some help right now, because I know mentally I'm there. I've got it. It wasn't like I was out of control, but I was still doing like a ketogenic like diet, but I was still eating way too much. I was eating protein all day long, vegetables all day long, cheese all day long. So I wasn't doing really unhealthy food, but I was eating too much of the food that I did enjoy, you know? And so I just reached out to him. I said, I need help. Like I said, I'm drowning. I'm battling a lot right now, and I need some support, because I think that I'm going to go right back to my old self.
That's interesting, because when I was with Dr. Galvez, I had my second one, and I had my second one about a little over a year after my first one. And we were chatting, and I was just like, so how many people come back? Because he was, telling me how proud he is, because he's just a wonderful human. But I'm like, how many people come back for round two? And he was like, you'd be surprised. He's like, only 15% of people, I would say, that have had their first round come back for round two.
15?
And 15%. I was like, 15? He's like, yeah, a lot of people gain their weight back, or they just don't come back for the second round for whatever reason. Most of it is because of regain. And so I really, I think that was so mature of you to reach out, and I'm so proud of you that you're finally having round two. Like,
I put this off 4 times now, you guys. 4 times I put off this surgery. I mean, a lot was going on at the time when I did put it off. I'd book with Dr. Galvez, and then something would happen with my family and my kids, and then there was one point where I was just like, gosh, I don't think mentally I was not prepared to go through 6 weeks of recovery. I tell everybody, I said, this is so mental. This is not physical. Physically, I didn't suffer in pain. Physically, I was a little sore and uncomfortable. That was it. I felt like the Michelin man. Outside of that, I did not physically suffer, but mentally I did suffer. Mentally, I was not prepared for it. I was so focused on the results. I did not prepare myself mentally. So I tell people, the reason I put this off is not because of the physical pain. It is because of the mental pain that you go through, going from morbidly obese and stagnant to a very fit and active lifestyle, to feeling like you're morbidly and stagnant again.
Yeah.
That is a devastating feeling. And
Yeah.
I'm terrified of that next week. I know I'm going to wake up. I'll be one day post-op 1 week from today.
Yeah.
And I remember that feeling like it was yesterday. So ecstatic. I'm over the moon. I was flat. My boobs were cut off. I weren't heavy anymore. I mean, I could see my lady parts. I could see my flat tummy. Like, all of it was amazing. And then when I left this amazing team, who you feel like complete royalty there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget Dr. Galvez. I was talking to him, and I was like, what was your coolest patient? Like, what was your favorite? And he's like, you know what my coolest patient is and my favorite patient is? The one I'm working on that day.
Yeah.
He goes,
great.
all my attention and focus goes to them. Nobody else exists in that moment. But I wanted to say about the round two. I remember Dr. Galvez, when he was doing my round one, you could see in my stories, he's like, we're going to leave. He talks about how he did breast reduction. He did a 5-pound breast reduction on me. My boobs were still huge after I lost my weight. And he goes, at round two, we're going to do implants. And I watched the video. I said, round two? Who the hell said I was doing round two? You lost your mind. I'm doing this one time, And about 3 months later, I remember tagging him in something on Instagram, and he messaged me back a couple of days later. He's like, so you ready for round two? I was like, how did you know I was even thinking about it? He goes, you were going to go home. You were going to see that mismatch, because you do. My upper body's all fit and tight. Yeah. And then I walk and my thighs are greeting you before I do. So I'm like, yeah, I want those to match. And sure enough, I was like, yeah, I booked it then. And then, yeah, here we are 6 years later, and I'm finally doing it.
Hey. So I want to backtrack to your initial question, 2 things. Your initial question to Noelle, because we have different answers. So you asked if she had to do it all over again. And for me, the difference is I would do the exact same thing again, because I already know that I was the queen of 50 pounds. 50, and I don't know what it was about 50 pounds. It's almost because I think you white knuckle it, right? It's like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I restrict. I hit the 50 pounds. And then at some point in time, it's almost like you start to breathe, and then it's like you go back to, because I didn't do really much mental work. Oh, we lost Justy. She'll be back.
Oh,
But I
no.
didn't do I didn't do much of the mental work. I just really restricted for as long as I could, and then you can't do it anymore. So for
Right.
me, I would 1000% go back. Oh, she's logged in as me. That's funny. Oh, she's back. Oh, there's two of me. I would 1000% go back and do it again. I just wish, a lot of people say that I would have done it sooner. But I thought weight loss surgery was the easy way out. I've heard other people talk about it that they're having, and I was like, just like go to the gym or whatever. Like, what do you mean? Like, for me, that I had the same mentality that a lot of other people do, until that day that I realized I needed more help. It was after New Year's Eve. We went out. I had this dress that I wore, and I felt like a stuffed sausage, and I just didn't feel good in my skin. And I woke up, and it was, a lot of people New Year knew me or whatever. I just knew I needed to change, and I made an appointment at the local weight loss surgical center. This is history. But yeah, that I would have differently. I would not have, even knowing Justy's story, knowing what she's done, going through all that. Because when she started, I was also doing the same thing. That's when I would lose my 50 pounds, because we listened to Corinne, and that was
Right.
really helpful for me, but I just couldn't sustain it. So I think for me, I need the tool of weight loss surgery to help me, because when I start to go back to my old ways, I'm still restricted. And then to piggyback on that too, with the weight regain, I knew when it was happening. I knew it, and I watched it, and I continued to go through with it, even though I knew it was happening. And it's almost like that thought in my head, like, okay, we'll get it together, but today's not the day, or we'll get it together. I'm gonna get this
Tomorrow.
together. And right. And then next thing you know, I'm up like 40 pounds, and I'm like, fuck, like I didn't want to do that. But then you got to dig your head out of the sand and and attack it again. It's almost like you just can't let your foot off the gas pedal, because as soon as you do, you're 40 pounds up again. So it's happened
Right.
to me twice. And both times I went on a GLP-1 to just help me maintain it, because for whatever reason, I just can't seem to maintain it on my own, because the everything that happens in my head and whatnot is just overwhelming. And
And
for me, I saw it happening. I knew it
that's
was
why
coming.
I started the GLP-1 when Steph did, because I started noticing those thoughts of, I didn't gain weight yet, right? But I started noticing those thoughts of, well, I'll just have this macaron, it's just one, right? Or I'll just have this, instead of my tea, I just want some food before I go to bed. Or I'm just gonna, well, I'll work out in the morning, and then the morning, like, well, I'll do it tonight, and then okay, well, I'll just do it tomorrow. This little tiny thoughts that I start changing, and I was like, oh, bitch, no, you're
Mhm.
not doing
Yeah,
it.
check yourself.
You're not doing it. You're not doing it. And I think, and it's like, I have just a weird determination, but seeing Steph and being so close to Steph, and not that she doesn't have it, but I saw her have regain, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to stop it now. I know what she did when she had her regain, and when she stopped it, she started taking the GLP-1. I know that that worked. I'm going to start it now, so I don't have
Mhm.
to go through all of that, right? I don't want to have to go through that. And a lot of it is because of the Instagram. I'm very active on my Instagram every single day.
You
And
are.
I was like, and that's what saves me. I don't even know how many people watch me. I don't even know if anybody cares, but for me, it's my
They do.
accountability.
Yeah, they
It's my
do.
accountability.
It
So,
is. And that's important. And the thing is, I haven't been that for the last couple of years on Instagram. I have
mhm,
struggled to be consistent and stay on there. And I think a big part of it I'm kind of grateful for, because it has showed me that I could be successful without all of the attention,
right.
and without getting all of that. But I miss it like crazy now. I'm in 2016, 2017, I was getting like all of these compliments, like, you're so
Uh-huh.
beautiful, you're so amazing. And I was eating it up. I was like, oh gosh, just keep feeding me. Now I'm like, don't tell me any of that. Tell me how I've inspired you. Tell me how I've motivated you.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
find myself struggling to get back into Instagram consistently, but I find a lot of joy in it now. Back then, they were filling an empty void. But
Right.
today, I know I love that I inspire and motivate others to believe in themselves, whether it's weight loss, weight gain, whether it's, just to believe in themselves in a general sense, you know.
Right. Or even with your openness about your sexuality. I think that's
Yes.
a huge thing that a lot of people don't know. It's called the 3L effect, the late life lesbian, but that's a whole nother thing because we're
Oh,
sick of
is
men.
it?
Yeah,
How
it
did I
is.
not know this?
It's called triple L. You should, I think you can Google it. But late life lesbian, but it's a lot of people who struggle with weight. They struggle, some don't, like I don't think Steph does. I don't think I really do, but a lot of people struggle with something that they're hiding or something that they're ashamed of, or sexual abuse or sexuality or a lot of different things. And when you lose that weight, when you shed that weight, you're able to like become who you really are, right?
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That does. And I don't ever remember. I grew up in LA, so I've never been raised to be ashamed of, you know, my mom's best friend was gay growing up. Like I was never, I didn't live a life that a lot of people lived, I guess you would say, like in the South where it
Yeah.
was so shunned, you know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
But I did find that as soon as I lost the weight, started feeling better about myself, I started fantasizing about women.
Mm-hmm.
That was like,
Mm.
something's like off here. And like, I realized it around 2017. And I was just like, I know what, Noelle, you're an attention whore. You just want attention from men and women. You know, the attention you're getting on Instagram is not enough. You just want more attention. So I was like, I was thinking I was having a midlife crisis. And I was like, I remember telling my best friend just recently, just like, I was checking off all the boxes. I went through infertility, paid for infertility, failed adoption, biological child, and then married in an interracial marriage, which gets a lot of attention, and then divorce, and then coming out as a lesbian, losing 260 pounds. And she was like, girl, you're just trying to check off all the trauma boxes, like every single one of them. I think you've checked them all off. Now you just need to come out with one, you know what I mean? But that's what it felt like. Like I felt like I was just wanting attention, but that noise of fantasizing about women didn't go away. And I finally was like, I've got to explore this, because as soon as I came out and I was with a woman, it was just like my eyes opened up and I was like, oh my gosh, this whole time, you know, like, but it took my journey. I really do believe that, like what you just said, I'm gonna have to look into that triple L, because it took me late in life to really, and losing that weight and really, I think losing the weight, I was able to find myself. I was just a mother and a wife for so long. All I wanted was to have kids so something could love me unconditionally at the end of the day. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had these kids, I had this life. And then once I found myself and I came out and tried to embrace Noelle and give myself my own identity, I was like, maybe I'm gay. Here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely all of us kind of get something that we didn't expect out of it. Like I always, in my heart and my soul, I always felt like I was like an athlete inside, or I wanted to look like a strong woman because my dad was strong. He looked like Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? My brother's like 6 foot something. And I just felt like I just wanted to be like big and strong. And now I feel like that's just I'm who I want to be. And whether or not that's just from a physical standpoint, I love clothes. Lord, do I love clothes.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, Steph, I'm sure you always
I know.
look, every time I see her, she looks, unless you're in your work clothes, like, but you even look good then. But when you come in dressed up, I'm like, just the other day, Jesse, I saw you and I was like, Jesse, please, for the love of God, take me shopping. Dress me. I need help. I'm starting to dress like I feel like I dress terribly and I wear the same thing every day. I've been wearing workout clothes for the last 10 years. And I'm like, I need to learn how to dress for my body. And I'm like, when I get back from Mexico, Jesse, I'm hiring you and you're taking me shopping.
We're gonna go shopping. It's an
And I
addiction
think
though.
I think part of that though, Justy, is because when you were over 300 pounds, you couldn't find stuff to wear.
No, it was like
we had to dress in torrid skulls all the time because
Brian.
that's all that fit us. You know what I mean? And so, and our gym outfits didn't match because it was whatever t-shirt may or may not have had a hole in it, but still fit without like, you know, cutting the circulation off. You know, we just pieced things together. We didn't put an outfit together so that way we could look good. We put an outfit together so we could cover up as if people didn't know that we were overweight. And then when you lose the weight, it's like, holy crap, I can actually wear, like, you were talking to me about retreat and like, what size shirt do you want? And I'm like, oh, large. Because for me, and I have a lot of skin here. So for me, like I can, it has to be a large if it's a t-shirt. Otherwise, it becomes a tank top because it's just going to ride up into my armpit. But I was like, oh, if we do long sleeve, I can wear a medium though. And she's probably like, all right, psycho. But that's just
No,
the
but
way
I
that I
know because I
know
used
that
to be
that's how
like
my
that.
body fits. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't anymore. We don't have to just piece together whatever we can get. We can walk into any store at this point and be like, oh, that's cute, and then get pissed off when they don't have a medium. You know?
Right. I'll never
Yeah.
forget. It took me like a year. Chris and I would go out and go shopping after I lost my weight. And he's like, hey, do you want to go into Ross or what? No, just stores that didn't have plus size. I was like, in my head, I'm like, I can't shop there. This is not Lane Bryant. This is not Torrid. I can't go in there and just, but it took me forever to realize I can go in a normal store.
It was about a year that I stopped going to the plus size rack, you know,
Yeah.
and then now once in a while I'll look and I'm like, dang, they got some cute stuff over there.
Yeah, they do. They really do. They've come a
Where
long
was this?
way. It was such old lady stuff back in
Yes.
2016.
Fashion
Uh-huh.
bug. Yeah.
Well, and for me, I've had to learn also with because fortunately I have done well with my finances and I can afford to buy clothes and that I couldn't before when I was a struggling single mom. But I've had to use the same tools around eating, around shopping, because like you with the attention, for me, when I put on an outfit, I just feel good. And it's like I have literally 80 pair of jeans. Who needs 80 pair of jeans? Like literally, I'm looking at my closet and I'm like, who needs that? But so I have to use those same things when I go to the store. Took my daughter shopping for her birthday. I'm like, okay, you don't need anything. You don't, this is not going to be, for your future self. This does not align with your closet because it's full. Like I have to talk to myself around that. Do you have any sort of like thing that you've transferred your addiction to? Mine is also working out, like transferred that to, or are you pretty, you got it, you kind of just have that under control?
That's a good question. It's definitely not fashion, as you can see. I would say I don't think so. I don't think
That's
I
nice.
did a transfer of addiction in the very beginning, and that was coffee. And I'm anemic, and coffee was keeping my belly full. It was keeping the noise out. I wasn't craving food 24/7, or if I was, I felt too full to eat. So I was drinking, I think probably 10 to 12 cups, if I'm being honest, a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so because it kept me full, it kept me really full, and I was doing a little bit of heavy cream and fake sugar. That's awful for you. So
Right.
I was addicted to it. So that was my transfer of addiction. But then I found out it was blocking iron absorption, and I'm anemic, and it was dangerously low. So they were like, "You've got to cut out caffeine." So now I'm down to 1 cup a day. Actually, got rid of it completely to prepare for surgery, and I'm drinking tea right now. Just
I
hot
did that
tea.
too. It was horrible. Like the month before, because I
Yeah.
drink like 3 or 4 cups a day. So I got down to one, and then I cut it all out at the last couple of weeks. But I'm like, oh my god,
It's torture. It's torture.
is. It
And I'm
is.
a 1 cup. I've occasional too, but I'm a 1 cup gal. So
You haven't had Stephanie transfer addiction, have you? No.
no, not that I
I
know
mean,
of.
her
I still love food.
addiction is not relaxing for
Yeah.
a second.
Oh,
Her
well,
schedule.
and I'll agree with that. I don't do well sitting still at all. So that might be my transfer of addiction. Though if I sit still for too long, I get in my head.
Mm.
Because to me, again, it's back to our old selves. What happened what were we like when we were 300 and 400 pounds? You walked in a house or you got somewhere, you were looking for the nearest comfiest seat, and a seat that could support your big old tail. That's what I
Right.
was doing. So the second I'm sitting for too long, I mean, if somebody sits down and watches a TV show, my girlfriend, for example, she's like, oh my gosh, sit down. Like commercial, I'm up doing something. Like, what can I do? You know what I mean? But I'm so afraid of being stagnant again. I'm so a big fear of mine, I will tell you, is getting older and my body slowing down and what it will do to me mentally. I feel like it'll be harder on us than your average person.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. I wonder if there's studies on that, because bariatric surgery has been around for a really long time too.
Well, I will tell you, okay, so my mom, who is, retired, lives in Florida, in her 70s, and she walks 6 miles a day. So she goes out in the morning and does 3 before the Florida heat gets a hold of her, and then she goes back out in the afternoon and does another 3. And she plays golf usually like once a day, unless there's
Good for
bad weather.
her.
So yeah,
Nice.
but that took her, for her, she said, and it's insane to me to even think about this, but her watching my journey. So I'm 5 years post-op. Sunday was my surgiversary. So it was
Oh,
her watching me go through mine, and she was like, "You just really, really inspired me." And so she started just walking, do what you know, meet yourself where you are and walking, and then trying to eat healthier and whatnot. So she would call me. It was so cute. She would call me. She's been on the journey as well for 5 years, and she would call me and say, like, "Guess what? My doctor took me off of my blood pressure medication," or like she would call me with her little wins and stuff, and just tell me like how excited she was to have like these little wins. And she
all
did
because
go
you
on.
inspired her.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's crazy. You don't like literally, like you said with Instagram. I started my Instagram because my sister said to me, Steph, get off of Facebook. It's toxic. Because I was joining groups on Facebook. She's like, they're
Okay.
toxic. Go to Instagram. I'm like, Instagram's just like pictures. And so I did, and I started the account, and she came up with my name, Steph the Shrinking Chef, and she really got the ball rolling for me there. But same thing, I was watching other people who had done it just before me, and they inspired me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, well, if they inspired me, let me do the same thing because surely I'll inspire somebody else. And so it was kind of that thing all along. I didn't think, I'm thinking I'm inspiring strangers, and it's my mom. And she's lost a lot of weight and she's gotten really fit. Justy did a 5K with her for Thanksgiving a
Mm-hmm.
few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we all did it, but Justy, and she walked with Justy. And it was just like, to see that and to know that it's crazy to think that I'm going to inspire my mom when typically it's your mom that inspires you, you know what I mean? But
Right.
she really got herself into shape, and to the point where she was, to a point where she's like, I'm fasting this day, I'm doing this. She was working with her doctor, and then the doctor at one point she was like, I don't know what else to do because I'm doing everything I can think of. Like, she's obviously active, she's doing all the right things, she's eating better. As you get older, you can only eat, you eat a little less anyway. And then the doctor put her on, oh gosh, I don't know what, it might be Ozempic or something like that, just to help her because she really couldn't just get herself to where, like, to that like healthier weight. Did really well, but she still was carrying a lot of excess around. So,
Her
but
belly.
yeah, exactly. And
Belly.
I'm built completely different from the
Opposite.
women in my family. I
Yeah.
am, I have my dad's side of the family body, and my two sisters and my mom all have my mom's side of the family where they're very like straight and kind of boxy. My mom's got very thin legs, and she is bigger up top, I would say. And then for me, I have very big legs, tiny waist, little tiny boobs. My hands are teeny. My ring is like a four and a
You
half.
and Noelle
I
have kind of the same, like smaller upper body and then more more weight on the lower body.
all hips, ass, and thighs.
And
Yes,
legs, our
and bat
arms
wings.
too. Yeah, and
Yeah.
arms. Yeah.
I've asked Noelle a couple of times if she has lipedema because of just the way that her legs are, the way that her legs are. And lymphatic massages when you're done with your surgery. I have a girl in
Yeah.
Charlotte. So
Oh yes,
yeah,
I would
but
love that. I would love
well,
that.
this has been really fun, and we could probably talk for hours and days and all of that fun stuff. Well, maybe we'll probably have you on again for sure. But I
Yeah, I
wanted
love
we
that.
talked about how important Instagram was to both of us. So tell people what your Instagram is, how they can find you, and yeah, anything else you want to kind of say.
So transforming Noelle across all platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I
Ooh,
think
you're a
that's all of them.
TikTok? I
Yeah,
can't
on
get on the
TikTok.
TikTok board for
I'm
some
not a
reason. I
TikToker.
tried,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
tried.
hard.
Yeah, I
So
got on the TikTok,
transform
but
Noelle.
this was back then though. This was back in 2017. Honestly, you know what got most attention on TikTok was anytime my ex-husband was in the video with me and all of our kids. Everybody
Oh,
loved seeing all of us together. And then our weight loss together, like anytime we shared weight loss journeys together, that's the TikToks that really blew up.
gotcha.
So yeah, I'm across all those platforms.
And
And
we're gonna follow you on your your skin removal surgery next week. And actually, by the
yes.
time this airs, it'll probably be the day you're having surgery.
Oh, will it really?
I
Okay,
think
good.
so.
I'm
Tuesday.
excited.
Which
What
day
is
when do you have surgery?
On Wednesday.
so it'll
Okay, so
air
it'll be the day
Tuesday.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Good.
so hopefully people can get on there and follow your journey.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm going to be posting a video about my scars. And Steph and I are going to be doing a retreat. So we're going to be posting quite a bit about that in a
Oh,
couple
that
weeks.
sounds
So we're
nice.
excited about that.
That sounds like what kind of retreat?
Fitness, wellness retreat.
Good.
We're gonna bring some women to Charlotte, up to Lake Lure and do some food
Oh,
prep and some
In
yoga.
Asheville.
Yeah,
Oh, how
some workouts.
fun.
We got a house. We're gonna show them food prep and do some mindset workshops and just,
Oh, hiking,
sisterhood and bonding
sisterhood,
and
yep.
yeah,
Know about this.
yeah.
I was gonna be in recovery, wasn't I?
Well, hopefully we'll do another one.
Yeah.
If this one is successful, but it seems like it's gonna be pretty fun. So
Cool.
yeah.
That's gonna be great. I'm excited for you guys. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, well, we're excited. I know I won't see you. I see Noelle quite a bit, but I won't see you. So good luck. If you need anything, reach out,
Thank
let me
you.
know.
Thank you. I'm excited.
And we really appreciated this.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was an honor.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.